want to tell you a story, and I want to take you on a little trip thousands and thousands of years ago to ancient Japan, where the great emperor ruled a huge empire of people, armies, and he was told that he would die, that he had maybe 2 years to live. And because he didn't have an heir, he decided to do something very, very different than all previous emperors had done before him. He decided, he had no children, so he would gather all of the children within the realm in front of him. He called a huge, great meeting where there were thousands of children, all inside the huge city walls. They all gathered on this beautiful sunny day, and they were all told that the emperor had something very special to say to them. And they were there were parents, families, animals, everything. And he said, he stood at the front of them all, and he said, "Here is a seed." Now, he placed it back into this huge bowl of seeds, and he said to all of those that were gathered, he said, "In 1 year today, I am going to choose a new emperor or empress." And he said, "Now, I'm going to give you all one of these seeds. Every single one of you will have one of these seeds. And depending on what you present back to me, in 1 year, today we will gather here again, the exact same place, in 365 days. And depending on what you present to me, will help me decide who will be the next ruler, the great ruler of this kingdom." And so all the children, they ran in, they all took a seed. It was a frenzy of excitement. Parents saying to their children, "Yeah, I'm sure you'll be the next one, I'm sure." And it was excitement. It was a bit like a lottery, right? It was amazing. And all of these children, they went back to their little huts, their homes, and they planted their seed, and some had different pots. They were just given the seed. The rest was up to them, how they nurtured it and what they did. And a young boy called Endo, he put his seed in a little pot, put it at his window. He was a very poor boy, and he just lived with his mum. His dad had died many years ago, and he was, every day he took such care of this seed, and he was just as excited as all the other boys and girls. But weeks began to go by, and he noticed, and he looked at other children's pots, and that the seed had grown. There was stems coming out of it, and still he carried on, he persevered. And he said to his mum, what is it I'm doing wrong? And she said, "Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. You just keep looking after that seed." And he kept watering it. He'd put it in the sun when the sun was out. He'd put it in the darker places when it should be. He would nurture that seed like an infant, like a child. He took such care of that seed. It was his everything, because he wanted the emperor to love him. He wanted him to see that he was the one to be the next emperor. And he tried, and anyway, months had passed, and some of the flowers that had grown, his next door neighbour's flower was all up growing up the side of the house. It was taller than the house. His friends of his, and some of them would sort of point and look over and laugh and make fun of Endo, because his seed hadn't grown at all. And anyway, months turned into eventually a year. And it was the day to go out. And Endo was sat in his room with his little pot, looking down at just dirt. The seed hadn't grown, and he was crying. He was distraught, and he said to his mum, "I can't go out there, Mum." He said, look what I have and look what everybody else has. I failed. If anything, I'm going to be in trouble because they're all going to take all these beautiful things and plants, and I have nothing to show." And she says to him, "Endo, you've been true to yourself, and now see it through. Don't change now. There's no need to hide away. You go out there, and you be happy with what you have." And so he wiped away the tears, and his mum helped him, and he went out into the huge courtyard, thousands of children. The emperor came out, and he looked, and it was a glorious sight of all different plants, all different sizes, all different colours, and all the children trying to push theirs to the front to show that theirs is the best. And Endo was right at the back, and you could see, the emperor could see, he would have been able to see where he was because he was so far back. He was away from the crowd in front, and he was just standing there with the pot, looking down, all sad. And some of the children would look around, turn around, and the parents, and sort of smirk and laugh at what Endo had brought to the day. And anyway, the emperor, he looked upon Endo. He could see him. He said, you boy, you come here." And Endo was terrified. He was absolutely distraught, but he stayed strong. And he walked all of those steps all the way around through the crowd who were laughing at him, and walked all the way with his little pot, all the way up to the huge stage where the emperor was stood. And the emperor said to Endo, "Stand next to me." And he did. He said, "Hold up your pot." And he did. And then the emperor declared, "Hear me all. Behold your new emperor." And you could have heard a stone drop in the entire place of thousands of people. And the emperor explained, 1 year ago today, I gave you all a boiled seed that would not grow. He said, all of you have gone away and replaced that seed with what I see before me. Sorry, this story makes me a little bit emotional. And he says, Endo, sorry again, feeling a bit emotional. Endo has lived in truth. He has been true to me, and he has been true to himself. He said, the next emperor to rule, I want to be a true emperor. One who cares when all looks lost. One who still holds on and struggles through despite the hardship. One who always believes and has faith in that seed and isn't ashamed to present it on the day today of judgment. That is the boy that I wish to be with me at the height of my kingdom. And so Endo ruled, and it was he was a glorious leader. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because it's exactly the same with the Lord. He sees you. He sees your truth. No matter the hardships that you're going through, stay true to yourself. All of those other children who had all these different plants and sizes and flowers, they gave into the world. Now we see it in the modern day today. We see people giving into Instagram, to Facebook, OnlyFans, I think it's called. All of these different things where they're pleasing the world. But the only one that mattered in that story was the emperor. And the only one that matters in your story is God. And know that even when you're being ridiculed, that Jesus said, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. He then went on to say that you're hated because you are not of the world. And that's the same in this story with Endo. People hated him and ridiculed him. But he stayed true. And he got the ultimate reward. And that's all that matters. The reward from the Lord above. You see, when all around you are pleasing everyone else and quick to say, look at my plant, look at my glorious life, look at me, aren't I great in this photo, and oh, do you want me to please you in this way? Fantastic. The Lord sees. He sees through it, and he sees emptiness behind those people. He sees people that are more preoccupied with pleasing the world. But when he looks at you, what does he see? He sees beauty and truth that is true to itself, that is true. And if you are true and true to yourself, you are true to the Lord. You are pure in spirit. And that's what the Lord demands. I don't really think there's anything else for me to add to that, other than just to summarise that if you're struggling and things aren't going your way and you feel like saying, I want to pack it in and I want to do this, and you know, I'm not worth the struggle, or this isn't worth the struggle anymore. If you could see what God sees, you'd keep going. You'd keep pushing and you'd keep fighting. And because you would know that the reward in heaven would be so great. Stay true to yourself and keep doing what you're doing, and don't be influenced by the world around you. God bless you. Take care.